morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Wayne County. We're a diverse congregation that welcomes you as you are, regardless of your age, ethnicity, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, economic status, or physical ability. We come together to seek deeper meaning and understanding from each other and from the world around us. Your presence here today is a gift that brings us closer to that understanding. We're an active community that lives its values beyond the hours of Sunday service, and I'd like to call your attention to the following announcements. Water Communion is September 10th, 2023. We encourage you to bring a small container of water that is special to you. Attention all actors and medieval fans of all ages. The quest for the Holy Quail needs you. Yes, I mean all elementary, middle, and high schoolers. Adults, we need you. This is an all ages production. Auditions for the Madrigal Mummers skit will be held for 2 Sundays, September 10th and 17th, starting after the service at 11:30 a.m. See Wendy Ziegler-Clark if you have any questions. If you'd like to find out more about our activities, please feel free to ask Karen Skubik here, our membership coordinator.
Thank you, Peter, and welcome to everyone. And I'd in particular like to welcome some visitors that are traveling the country. But before I give you the opportunity to stand up and introduce yourselves or anyone else who's visiting who would like to do so, I want to welcome Vicki McKenna, who's been here, but she is now our accompanist. So thank you, Vicki, for taking on this staff position. So we have a new staff member. And I know Gail has some friends she wants to introduce.
Yeah, I would like to introduce my friends in the back there. If you'll stand, ladies. Marie and Trudy. Trudy is the taller of the two. They travel and live their life in a big, huge, large bus. They travel the entire United States, make a loop every year. And so they happen to be here visiting, so they came along.
Welcome, Marie and Trudy. Anybody else who would like to introduce themselves or introduce anyone with them? No? Okay, good to see you all.
Now I'd like to ask you to open your minds and silence your cell phones for our time together. Got it. Today's chalice lighting is Why Improvise by Kirk Byron Jones. Why improvise? There's always more music to be heard and played than the music you have planned. Why improvise? To improvise is to create. Why improvise? To improvise is to be in search and be surprised on purpose. Why improvise? Musicality is too rich not to. Why improvise? The Spirit says to. Why improvise? Improvisation is a way to be free. And now we're going to sing, but we're not going to ask you to rise in body because the choir is going to lead us, and I think we're going to be standing maybe a long time.
Good morning. So we are going to teach you a hymn, which is number 83, Winds Be Still. And if you want to join in and sing, feel free to join us. The words will be on the screen. And also, I just want to put in a plug for choir. Like, I've never been in a choir before, and everybody's very patient. So if you'd like to sing, I would encourage you to come and check it out.
I didn't ask her to do that.
Scoot down. Oh, they won't. Oh.
I'm sorry, just a moment. I forgot to do something very important so she can hear the choir. So sorry.
You don't want to be too close to the mic.
She can't hear them as much as last.
Storm clouds pass and silence come. Peace, grace is done with harmony. Fly, bird of hope, and shine, light of love, and in calm
Sharon, that was a beautiful piece you picked out for us. Thank you very much. And thanks the choir for helping us get through it. As we do in every service, we take this time to just do a little bit of meditation. So get the things off your laps, put your feet squarely on the floor, hands on your thighs, close your eyes if you so desire. Take in a great big deep breath. And as you exhale slowly, feel your shoulders come down and relax. Do this a second time with one more great big deep breath. And feel those shoulders relax even more. As you close your eyes and breathe easily and slowly, go to a special place in your mind. May it be a beach, the forest, holding the hand of someone long ago, or even on a golf course. It should be someplace that brings you peace, someplace where you can escape and find solace from your troubles. For the next few minutes, be it completely at peace, no noise, no demands on your time, no sickness, no death. This is your utopia. Blessed be. I would like to take this time now to talk about some of the joys and sorrows from folks in our congregation. Chris Sullins is at the Apostolic Home in Richmond, Washington, after a hip fracture. So I'm sure she would appreciate a card, or even more so, a visit, if you get a chance to get up there and see her. Kay Bowen just had knee surgery. So tell Bert to get her up and moving, and tell her to heal quickly, because we like to have her here. And for those of you who remember Sarah Highsmith, she had a heart attack and then ended up back in the hospital for a few days. And she then left the hospital. And on Friday morning, she flew out to Oregon to live with her daughters, and that's where she will be. Her sister will keep us apprised of anything that comes up with Sarah, and we wish her well in her new life in Eugene, Oregon. And last but not least, Vicki Dutter will be having knee surgery on Tuesday. So, well wishes, cards would be appreciated for her also. Now, you may have a joy or a sorrow that you have kept inside. And that's not unusual. So I'm going to take you over to our bowl where you can come up and place those joys and sorrows by holding a stone and then putting it gently in the water.
faith is centered on the belief that we can make this world a better place for all who dwell in it. In order to realize that vision, we need both the motivation and the means. Your donation helps the community put its faith into action by supporting our programming and our facilities. This morning and throughout the month of August, donations that are not designated for another purpose will be split with the Central American Medical Research Outreach. Let me say that again. Central American Medical Outreach, also known as CAMO, which provides medical services, community development, and training and education to impoverished people. The offering will now be collected and gratefully received. Now join me in this unison reading. The words are on the screen. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many of us do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for those who shift their gifts with us, for we are enriched by their giving. Let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may learn from the generosity of others. So today's reading is by Kathleen McTeague. We don't hear stories about saints and sages walking to their path of enlightenment, hauling bags of diapers and stacks of diaper wipes, mini packs of tissues, liquid Tylenol, or teething rings. It's hard to imagine them engaging in soul-deepening religious thoughts or dialogue while they wipe away a runny nose or clean up after SpaghettiOs. And the parent is more likely to be found poring over time and again the words of the Runaway Bunny or Goodnight Moon more than the classic sacred texts. The real journey with children is motivated not by our spiritual hungers, but by our offspring's more prosaic appetites. Although children's lovely spontaneous ways may reawaken in us, the world, being a parent, often doesn't look anything like traveling a spiritual path. Parents have little opportunity for regular prayer or meditation, Sabbath reflection, study, or journal writing. Instead, such practices may be reduced and disrupted almost to the vanishing point. The real journey for parents leads right through the life we are living, through the chaos, the interruptions, and the exhaustion. This ordinary, unsung path creates tremendous openness to the unanticipated. It meanders around 1,000 turns that feel like detours or dead ends. It requires faith that the Spirit does not grow in a straight line, nor does it require traditional forms and practices, as helpful as they may be. Real spiritual growth depends on our willingness to be transformed. And very little transforms us as thoroughly as sharing our lives with children.
Summer's over, folks. Okay? I remember getting all my school supplies when I was a kid and the smell of a new box of number 2 lead pencils. The taste of a new jar of paste. You know, the bendiness of your new eraser, and by the time it was done, it was all hard and crusty and it wouldn't erase anything. And also the new box of crayons. Now, if you got the big box with the eraser in it, you were something, but Needless to say, I was one of 7 kids, so we were relegated to the 24-pack. In grade school, we were always asked to have a cigar box. I, for the life of me, can't remember why. Does anybody know why we had to have a cigar box? Oh, to put the crayons in. Oh, well, we had a box for those, though. Okay, to put the crayons in, thank you, because I tried to remember, why did we have to have a cigar box? What did we need it for? We just put all our stuff in it, you know, when we took it to school, but I didn't know what it was for. But okay, thanks. Now I know what it's for. And then when you got to high school, we got our textbooks, and then we had to buy book covers. Remember those paper book covers where you had to bend them this way and bend them this way, and then you had to, and when you got them nice and tight, if they were too tight, your book wouldn't close because you didn't allow, yeah. And of course, by the end of the year, what did they look like? They were ripped, they were torn, held together with Scotch tape, but the artwork on them was legendary because we had all year. I would start with every class I had, I would start a specific doodle, and then I would keep adding to that. And by the time I had you know, this beautiful Renaissance picture of a lake and a guy fishing and trees and, you know, so sometimes I even saved my book covers because they were probably pretty cool. And of course, you know, they really just were meant to protect the outside of the book, and they really didn't protect a lot. But kids nowadays don't get to enjoy that taste of new paste. Now they have glue sticks. They still have the number 2 pencils and the crayons and the safety scissors, and now they have backpacks to keep everything together. They just throw it in the backpack. It's like a catch-all. We didn't have that. We had to carry our books separately. But I think when school started here in Worcester, I'd gone outside, and I heard a collective sigh of relief. Okay? A collective sigh of relief from parents who had run around, and of course some parents didn't even, you know, get their lists of the things that kids needed or the updated list till like the day before school, which I think is kind of cruel. And they're ready to start the new year. Summer's over. And during that time, most families, according to what I have seen in data and news, families normally take a 1-week vacation in the summer. And it's meant to, you know, give the kids something to do, and you go someplace special and you plan, and you know, planning takes weeks on end. And then you have to get there, whether you fly or whether you drive. Then you have to make all the travel arrangements, accommodations at a hotel or a resort or wherever you're going. And then you have to pack suitcases. And if you've got a family, you're packing for several people, probably including your spouse. And you go on vacation. Spend a whole lot of money while you're there. The average is $100 per person a day when you vacation. So for example, if Tony Berry took his family on vacation, he'd better plan $300 a day, and that's just for food, folks. That doesn't include the hotel reservation or anything else, because things, of course, have gotten expensive. My son and his wife spent the last couple years going to Maui, out to see my daughter-in-law's brother who lives there. Their flight out on Maui was scheduled for 2 hours prior to the evacuation of the island. As they took off, they saw Lahaina burning, all of those places they'd visit, and were just heartsick by the whole situation. And I'm not sure if they'll go back next year, simply because of the devastation. It's just something they don't want to see. Summer's over. What'd you do for yourself? If you have kids, you probably kept them from killing one another all summer. You tried to find things for them to do, whether it be day camps or going to the art center to take a class, or you know, practicing volleyball or any of the summer programs that are around here. But it's difficult for parents who work to do that. And they really don't have time to do anything for themselves. And that's a sad situation, because we need to take care of ourselves. Those folks who have families during the summer are busier than they are sometimes during the school year. But parents will give and give and give and never think of themselves during this time. And that's what this is about this morning. What did you do for yourself this summer? Did you take any time to kick back and relax? Any time for self-care? I've had kind of a difficult summer because I've gone to too many funerals. And I've been working on a house for a friend of mine, so I've been keeping busy with that. And now I've really got to get this place done so we can get it on the market, because now I have to start building sets for Madrigal. And that's going to take up my garage and time. And I found someone who's willing to help me paint, which is great. Thank you, Dawn, for offering. But we don't take time for ourselves. I've probably done more lounging this week than I have in a long time. And that's because I have friends came into town. So I knew I couldn't work. I wanted to spend time with them. So I could kick back and relax, talk with them, have some fine meals. And we all need to do that at some point in time. Dr. Tiki Davis, PhD, talked about self-care and all of the things that we need to do. And she said it's important to make sure you take care of your body, your mind, and your soul every day, not just when we get sick. Learning how to eat right, reduce stress, exercise regularly, and taking a time out when you need it are the touchstones of self-care. And practicing self-care isn't always easy, because folks are just crazy busy, have stressful jobs, they're too consumed by technology to take time for themselves. Me time is usually the last thing on the agenda, because we want to make sure that our families are taken care of, they're happy, they're fed. And worse than that, then we feel guilty about taking that time for yourself. And that probably is the biggest drawback to even getting started with self-care, is feeling guilty. And there are many things that you can do for self-care, and I've chosen a few of those to talk about this morning that Dr. Davis recommends. But no matter what you choose, the goal is to figure out self-care strategies that best work for you, and how to learn those strategies and implement them regularly in your schedule. And sometimes you even have to just schedule me time. Okay, this time, from this time to this time is me. You disappear, you're gone. And that's tough to do, especially with families. One of the biggest things that can help us as far as self-care is sleep. Has a huge effect on how we feel emotionally, how we feel physically, and not getting enough sleep can cause major health issues. So what do? What's your sleep routine? Your nightly routine. If you're eating or drinking immediately before bed, sometimes that's not good, because sugar and caffeine, of course, will keep you up, which are some of my favorite stimulants. It's also important to stick with that routine, and if it's not working, change it up. Another thing that's really important for self-care and how we feel is taking care of our gut. The types of food we eat crucially impact the bacteria that live in our stomach, resulting in a cascade of either positive or negative outcomes. Probiotics are extremely helpful for good gut health. Now, for those of you who work, as Peter said, he's been working some 12-hour days. Last thing he wants to do when he gets home is get on the treadmill, is exercise. All of us are the same way. If you work in stressful jobs, the last thing you want to do is come home and exercise. But it is part of a self-help routine, even if it's just walking at night. It can boost you physically and medically. And you may find it hard to try to go to the gym every day, but again, walking, yoga, tennis, golf, it's important to create a routine that works for you. And you want to make sure that you eat right also. Food has the potential to keep us healthy. Eating the right foods can help prevent short-term memory loss and inflammation, both of which can have long-term effects on the brain and in turn the rest of the body. So this truly is the brain and truly is a trickle-down effect with this respect. Some of the most amazing self-care foods can include fatty fish, blueberries, nuts, leafy green vegetables, and things like broccoli and cauliflower. All those things that are now at the farmer's market in downtown Worcester. So we live in a great area where some of us can grow our own food, and I love everything that comes out of my garden in the summertime. And sometimes this is the hardest thing for most of us. You have to say no. There are times when you may be approached to do something, someone asks you to do something, and you know, you're one of those people, you always want to play well with others and respond kindly, and sometimes you just have to say, no, I can't take on anymore. And that's the hardest thing, especially for someone like me. I like to help whenever I can. And it's important for us to be able to say that, especially, and it's important for you if you are asking for the favor to understand that sometimes we're going to hear no when we're asking folks to help us out or to do something. Take a trip. Now, we talked about trips, but I'm not talking about gathering up the family and taking the vacation. Sometimes a little weekend trip where you can disconnect and relax and be rejuvenated is really important. A getaway weekend is great. If kids have friends they can stay with, and you and your spouse or you by yourself can get away for a weekend just to change the scenery, or stay at home, turn your phone off, lock your door, keep your garage door closed, and do a stay at home and let people think you're away when you're not. That's one of my favorite things to do, actually. It's just, okay, pretend like we're gone. I grab my book, I read books, yep, get away from the technology. Speaking of books, just a little side note here. Our day at the lake we had a couple weeks ago, which was fun. The kids had a good time and the food was great and everything. And what I wanted to do that day, I had taken a book with me. I wanted to sit under a tree in my chair and read the book and just have quiet time. Well, I found my tree, sat my chair down, started to read, not even into it for one page, and my wife comes up to me and she says, "Why don't you bring your chair down by the lake and you can read down there?" Close the book, hike the chair, go to the lake. Find this beautiful spot up above the lake, put my chair down, nobody's around me. I start to read, and pretty soon, one by one, okay, somebody's over there. I'm just going to keep reading. Now somebody's over here. Now somebody's in front. Somebody's behind. I looked around and I was surrounded by people who were all talking, and I just went, okay, I'm done for today. I'll just go ahead and chit-chat with everybody. No matter where I went, I kept having these people show up around me. That day of reading at the lake wasn't going to happen. It just didn't happen. All right. Another part of self-care is maybe just getting outside. Spending out time outside can lower your blood pressure, get some vitamin D, and getting outside can help reduce fatigue, making it a great way to overcome symptoms of depression. And getting outside can also help you sleep better at night. So one thing kind of goes into the other. We can also do some physical activity while we're outside, whether it's gardening or hiking or maybe just walking around the block a few times is helpful. The next big thing we can do for self-care is pets. Those people with pets. Dogs can especially reduce feelings of stress, and they use them now for therapy for soldiers with PTSD. And these dogs can recognize this, and they do keep them calmer. I know Preston likes his kitty cats, and so that reduces stress for him. And I know Peter has a dog or two. One now, okay, he lost one recently. But pets can do a wonderful thing because you know what? They're always happy to see you. Oh, unless they're cats. Cats just say, oh good, the can opener's home. You know, so we're good to go. Cats do their own thing. But dogs are always in the same mood. They're always happy to see you. We're ready to go, you know. But they also know when you're stressed. They seem to know when something is not right with the owner. They will come and lay close, be calm, and pets are a big thing. And another thing that we can do for some self-care is to get organized. And sometimes that's really tough to do, you know. My shop right now is a mess because I'm pulling this out and I'm pulling this out and I'm working on this house and I've got this stuff and I've got this stuff and it's a mess. My house is organized because of this. This one, I swear when we had a cat, you know, the cat would get filed if it wasn't moving too much. But Bonnie keeps us organized in the house, and it's a wonderful thing. But even just organizing your calendar, carry a date book so you can keep organized what appointments you have when you have them. We write stuff on the calendar. I always have to tell Bonnie, okay, I have this appointment on this day. And she'll put it in her phone, she'll write it on the calendar, and then she will continue to remind me because I haven't figured out yet how to use Google Assistant on my Google thing at home. So, cooking for yourself also is really important for self-care because fast food is full of what? It's full of fat, it's full of preservatives, and it's really not sufficient when it comes to the right kind of foods we need to be eating for our calories and nutrients. So even if it's only once a week, consider making a healthy meal for yourself. And that's something too that Bonnie and I have changed our diet recently, and we're doing more salads, more fish. We're eating non-processed food or food that we have grown ourselves. And it does make a big difference in how you feel. Read a book for self-care. Well, that's fine as long as you are allowed to read the book when you want to read the book. And sometimes you have to schedule that time. And reading a good book, you can get into it. Everything shuts off, you get into the book, and you forget about everything and all your troubles. But sometimes reading a book on how to de-stress your life or self-care is important too. It'll give you some ideas on what to do. And the last little gem I'm going to talk about is to actually schedule your self-care time. Put it in your calendar. This time on Wednesday night is my time for, and I used to do that because Bonnie had choir. And so that was my night to go get Chinese. She went to choir. I went to Asian Wok, got Chinese, took it home. I had the evening, was quiet. I could do whatever I wanted to do. And she would be home at 8:15 or 8:30 after choir. Now I'm in folk orchestra and that's gone. But there are times when we have to schedule our time simply because we're busy, busy people. Time with friends is important also for self-care. Even picking up the phone and calling them to see if they're okay, see how they're doing, is good. Good thing for us to do. It keeps us grounded, and that's important. Now, I've just given you about 12 different tips on things you can do for self-care. You don't have to do all of them. One or two may do for you. Even once a week may do for you. Pick a couple out and try scheduling these. And take a tight time out of your busy lives to do that. I'll close this sermon off here with a couple of things to ponder. The first one is, how can you better take care of yourself? And the second one is, and if you don't take care of yourself, what's going to happen to those that you take care of? I ended the sentence in a preposition. Oh my goodness, my English teacher would kill me. But think of the people that you do take care of and how important they are in your life. If you are not able to take care of them because you can't take care of yourself, what's going to happen? Just a few points to ponder. And with that, I will say, blessed be, and let's go ahead and sing a sermon, shall we? You know, Unitarian Universalists are suspicious of that which can't be proved, or that what we feel is unprovable, inconsistently real but not intellectually grasped. It is often difficult for us to confess that we dwell in a universe that is beyond our creation, our control, and even our comprehension. There is so much we do not know that remains mysterious. We are sustained by processes and powers that we can neither fathom nor do without. The universe is wondrously and terrifyingly inexplicable, and that is why we like it. Okay, good enough.